Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you're watching from. Welcome back to BBK Sports, people. It's the Football Digest with BBK Sports. And again, Arsenal Football Club hasn't given us goosebumps yet. They haven't moved the needle for us. We're still waiting. Big up to Portugal. Won the Nations League final. I think it's their second trophy in 4 or 6 years. Big up to them. They are doing their thing. Christie, man, just keep racking up trophies at 40. That guy truly, truly, truly loves football. Big up to everyone tuning in from early. Make sure you hit the like button as you enter or as you leave the stream. It greatly helps the channel and it's greatly appreciated. Let me say big up to all the ones who are in here watching already. Alvin say, what you saying, BBK? I am good, bro. Outside of football, life is great. Can't complain. Normally, it's Monday. You're supposed to be groggy and I'm in good spirits, man. Aside from football, aside from Arsenal Football Club, it's a madness. Big up to Bluebird, top guy, always supporting. Big up to man like Gavin. Gavin, how you doing, bro? Hope everything is good. The general, people, the general is in the building. Wait a minute, the general, he's here, man. I can't just let the BBK boss come in here and not give him his applause. Big up to man like some of BBK people. There would be no BBK Sports without Mr. Sean McCorkell, top guy, the BBK boss. BBK Sports was born through him. So big up to him. Everything that you hear on this channel is possible because of that guy right there. So big up to him. So where do we start? We can start by bigging up the Nations League winners, yeah? Spain did their thing in the final. I know Arsenal fans very invested in it. Zubamendi starting, Mikel Moreno scoring in the previous game against France. I mean, it was a good game, 2-2, down to pens. Morata, it had to be him to miss his pen. Man is just, I don't know what's going on with that guy, but when he left Real Madrid, it kind of went like south for him, quick, fast, and in a hurry. In a hurry. But yeah, big up to the Nations League winners, man. Lamine Yamal didn't have the greatest of games. One of, yeah, he wasn't up to his usual stuff yesterday. I don't know what was up with him, but Nations League, we moving into the Club World Cup that starts this Saturday. This Saturday. And if you're interested in the Club World Cup, people, I probably will be doing some vlogs because some of the games are right here in Seattle. I'm going to be going to a couple of games just to see what's up. Now, news this morning that got the Arsenal fan base in a panic. It's links to another Premier League rival throwaway. When a club that finished 15th in the Premier League with negative goal difference, way down there in the precipice, in the pits of football hell, and their manager, who's scamming the living just like Arteta is, tells him, you better go find a new club. Pray that another club signs you. Right? If Man United shit players can't make a squad, why do we need them at Arsenal? And that's assuming that it's true and any of these links are true. But I don't believe it. I don't believe Arteta or Arsenal is even interested in Garnacho in any way. I think it's just agent tax. You have your agent, you're desperate for a club. The entire football world has watched you stink up Man United for 2-3 years. And right now, the clubs that are in for you are not any top clubs. So what do you do as an agent? You link him to Arsenal. You link him to Chelsea. Because you link him to Chelsea, you link him to Arsenal, especially Arsenal. You get headlines, you get views, you get clicks. And if there are football execs out there to believe this is actually true, that Arsenal would be interested in Garnacho, and he's a downgrade from Martinelli, a downgrade from Trossard, when we should be upgrading our left wing. If we're actively pursuing Rodrigo at Arsenal Football Club, Garnacho doesn't fit anywhere in that puzzle. It's for me to sit here and be like, you are worse than Martinelli. You are bad. Because most Arsenal fans have given up on Martinelli. He's not a young player no more. He's young, but he's experienced. He's been playing top level football for at least 6-7 years now, and still doesn't hold his head up. So I don't know what that is. I can't put it down to anything other than agent tax. His agent is linking him to everyone and anyone to raise his profile in hopes of landing him at a big club. That's it. There is nothing more to the Garnacho story. Now, on the other side of that coin, I've heard, I wasn't doing content at the time, but I've heard other content creators say the exact same thing I just said about Kai Havertz. Nah, he's shit. Chelsea don't want him. He's just throwaway. And less than a week later, Kai Havertz was holding up the shirt. So stranger things have happened in football. Stranger things have happened. Big up to all 10 of y'all watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new around these parts. But yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's nothing more than the agent trying to raise the profile of his dead player, a dud of a player who's been kicked out of Man United, and it's nothing but downhill from here. You probably got to go back to Argentina or something. Play one of those. I don't even think he can make it at River Plate. Boy has no tech, no skill, nothing. He's just an absolute waste of a footballer. Maybe he can go try his chances in the Serie A, Maybe he can go take his chances in the Serie A. We've seen men like Scott McTominay leave Man United and go light up the Serie A. Get man of the match performances on Super Sunday. Not a passenger, an active participant in winning the Serie A for Napoli. So maybe he can go find his feet in Italy. But Garnacho to Arsenal, I don't think there's anything there. There better not be anything there. This better be his agent doing agent things, using the media to raise the profile of his client in hopes of landing him a big job, a big gig somewhere. Because the agent, even though they work for the player, they know you get your player signed to a big club. The better the deal for the client, the better the deal for you, right? It's a percentage. 10% of 40,000 and 10% of 4 million, hell of a lot of difference if you are an agent. Big up to men like AJ. AJ, I hope everything is well, bro. Hope all is well on your side. Nothing but sunshine and rainbows over here, except the way the football club is moving. The way Arsenal Football Club is moving. And you see it in the thumbnail, people. When will it end? When will the transfer rigmarole end at Arsenal Football Club? Link to this player, link to that player. Here we go. He's linked for his medical. He's doing this, he's doing that. No man holding up the shirt. Now we can have beyond the excuse of Zubimendi played yesterday and been playing in Nations League. So over this next week, there should be no more news on Zubimendi. We've already had 2 here we goes, and the last excuses has been on international duty. There should be no more excuses for the Zubimendi deal. The next announcement by anyone, by any journalist, is he is in medical. He's at London Coney. He's at the training ground. He's at Arsenal medical facility, doing the medical, doing the stadium tour with Berta and Arteta. That is all. We don't need to hear anything else about Zubimendi. We don't need to hear anything else about Kepa. That is dead news. Right? That is back line, midfield. We know where we need to fill the hole in our team is. We need news on Sesko or Gyökeres. That's the news we need. A forward line. When is it going to end? Who is it going to be? No more dead news. No more recycling tweets. Fabrizio tweeted, then David Ornstein, then Jacobs, and all these. No, we're done with the transfer rigmarole, people. When will it end? Good afternoon, BBK. Big up Hendo. All in the chat watching. Big up Hendo, man. Big up to Hendo. Big up to you every single time. This football club, well, it's something else. Honestly, I'm getting closer to Berta out already. Berta, I said I'm very reluctant to put him on fraud watch already. But if you're going to come in and just be like, Arteta, you can still have all the signings you want, then yeah, bro, we have to put you on fraud watch because Sesko is not a new signing. Sesko was linked before Berta was at the club. So this is the Arteta/Edu signing or Edu player. And if you're Berta, you are Andrea Berta. You have a book. You have a log, a ledger, a journal full of players. You're a sporting director for however long. You don't lose your contacts in football just because you are out of work, right? And I'm not sure how high up the list of strikers Adria Berta would have Benjamin Sesko when he was at Atletico Madrid. You know, because we know he was at Atletico. You know, the striker that he went for was Julian Alvarez. Sesko is not on them levels. Alvarez was hitting Sesko numbers as a backup to Holland in the harder league. You know, so Sesko, you know, it will be typical Arteta move to bring in Morata as a striker. Oh my God. Oh my days. Hendo, yesterday I was on a stream with Rashid, big up to Arsenal Revolution TV. And we were talking about strikers who we probably could have gotten, you know, as a stopgap in January when we were screaming out for help in our attacking front. And that was one of the names that popped up. Morata. Oddly, it was as soon as we said his name, about 20 minutes later, he goes to miss the pen for Spain to cost them the Nations League trophy. But this would be some Arsenal shit, you know. Yeah, this would be the most Arsenal shit ever. And we have done some Arsenal shit. Not sign any outfield player in 2016 and watch Leicester win the league. Or, you know, sign Kai Havertz and we're trying to bridge the gap on Manchester City. It's a mad one. Big up to man like Static. Big up to man like Static in the chat. Let me see if I can do this because Brother Views was telling me I could possibly mod you from here. Better try to add as a moderator. There we go. I think I just did it. But big up to man like Static in the building. Some Dapin Zagwan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me scroll back up here. Make sure I don't miss anybody. But that Morata one is a mad. Apart from football ages that he is all good. Yeah, bro, I am wonderful. Nothing but sunshine. I'm taking the day off today, actually. I've been taking the day off and go spend some time with the fam. He just says Zubimendi doesn't want us just like he didn't want Liverpool. He just want the Spanish big three. But he's been at Sociedad for what, 6-7 years now? I would think that he would think if you were going to make it at one of the big three in Madrid, they would have called you by now. But instead, now you're a Spanish international. You're playing for Real Sociedad, and you still have to work for Real Madrid to get there. Like if Real Madrid want you, they come for you, don't they? You know what I'm saying? Especially when they don't have to go to a different league to get you. It's much easier to cherry pick a player if you're Real Madrid from Sociedad than having to deal with another league. You know, so you would have made it at Real Madrid by now. And unless Xabi Alonso explicitly wants him, because Carlo didn't. You know, Carlo didn't. Carlo didn't want you, Odegaard, or Moreno. That midfield three didn't work. Because Sociedad didn't pull up any trees when all three of them were there with Isak as a gunman. So, but I don't know. But the Zubimendi signing, the only thing that annoys me about it is that it's taking long. It's not that I'm excited about it. Because when we're struggling to score goals, and when we're not conceding a lot of goals, we know where the weak spot in our team is. Like I said, I want the front line, the front three, or a 10. You know, you're attacking 4. That's what we need to improve upon. But I hear the shout. The Spanish big three. I mean, it's giving me like the Vlahovic vibes back in like 2022, 2023. It was Daily Dusan on every Arsenal platform. Daily Dusan, Vlahovic. Man didn't want Arsenal. And now that Juventus want to throw him away, now he wants to give Arsenal a shout. Come on, man. Man is treating us like a side piece. I'm just going to chill and wait for the end of the transfer window. I know it will be already another disappointment. Says the Asna. It is the history of the Asna to drag our feet in the transfer window. Think it, even in 2021, 2022, even though Thomas Partey had a release clause for 45 million, when we could have got him 2 games ago to help us, we could have got him in the preseason. He could have had a preseason and hit the ground running. Instead, we waited until deadline day to end up paying the 45 million transfer fee anyway. I don't know what the hell the holdup was. It wasn't negotiating because it didn't work. Because we ended up playing full price, but we wasted 2 match weeks. Big up to man like Godfrey. And then Guna saying, Endo, tell him, appreciate you. Yeah, man. The Falcons are going. Love it, love it. Absolute, absolute love it. And look at guys for beating up everyone, man. Community settings. I love it. Was watching the final with my friend. Both of us said Morata would miss the pen when he stepped up. You know what, Hendo? I said that about Isco. I said that about the Isco penalty. I didn't say that about the Morata one. I said that about the Isco one when he spotted it, and the keeper went the way. The goalie went the right way, the correct way. Just couldn't. He got it, but Isco put enough whip on it to get it blind. But yeah, there's the Spanish team looked a bit nervy there. And I didn't get to watch the second half of the final because I was on screen with Rashid, but I was curious to know why he took Lamine Yamal off. I mean, it's not like the kid is 17 years old, man. He's 17. You can run for days. You can play 120 minutes of football when you are 17 years old. I'd love to see him take a penalty in a pressure moment. We all know why Ronaldo had to come off. Man is 40 years old. Did the equalizer. Did his job. Didn't expect him to play 120 minutes, but big up to Portugal, man. They did the thing. They did the thing. Some more bigging up going on. Deserve Morata doing Morata things. I don't know how Morata just. I don't know, man. It must be a mental block. It must be a mental block. We can't afford the two. We cannot let this club tell us they're broke. Spot on, Godfrey. Blow through the score on a brothel. Yeah, man. I know Vlahovic, that boat has sailed long ago. We don't want a Watt striker. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm seeing Juventus want to get rid of him now that they see that he's washed. Arsenal being linked with, nah, bro. No, you didn't want me when I was broke, young lady. You'll not come after me now that Arsenal are in a better place than Juventus. Because I think before he went there, Juventus won that league like 11 times in a row. Yeah, they did a Bayern Munich. They just ran away with that league. And then you go there and flush out. You want to come to Arsenal because we pay good wages. Nah, bro. No. We ain't having that. Endo, I respectfully and completely disagree. We can't afford two waste men because then we are throwing another 4 winnable trophies away. Yeah. So here's the thing about can't afford. It's because we have spent so poorly over the past couple of windows, right? We have made some bad deals. We have made some bad contracts. Paying full price for Havertz and putting him on 280 a week, right? Gabriel Jesus' price tag wasn't an issue, but I think he's on 250 or 200 plus. Those are bad contracts, and either of them haven't banged. Right, the fact that we're actively looking for a striker when those two are the two highest paid players at the club says we've got those wrong. So the next signing in our attacking front has to be right. This is why the Sesko deal worries me. It's not that I think Sesko is a bad player. It's not that I think Sesko won't bang. It's that I think Sesko is a higher risk than Gyökeres. It's too high of a risk for me. I don't think you can think Sesko coming to the Premier League, a harder league, in a rigid system. It's not like our attack is free-flowing and will create an abundance of chances. But he's 13 and 33. We're going to add some Premier League tax to that. We cannot pretend like we haven't seen this before, people. We have seen many attackers light up that Bundesliga, come to the Premier League, and flop. Kai Havertz, one is in our squad. He's our highest paid player. We see Nkunku. I think he played for the same team. Was it RB Leipzig? He played in Germany. Chelsea go spend 60 million for him, 50, 60 million for Nkunku. He comes to the Premier League and they're already looking to get rid of him. He was lighting up that league. Right? I'm not sure. We've seen it before. So it's not like I'm making this up because I just don't like the player. That German league is very difficult, the way they play in that league. For those who don't watch the Bundesliga, I challenge you to go watch some of their games. And the defending in that league is atrocious. I had no choice but to watch it because I'm a football man and I'm living in Germany. I'm living there. I'm going to these games and I'm just seeing, man, one-on-one with the keeper, clean through, week in, week out. Of course, Havertz is going to look good with all that space. Of course, Nkunku is going to look good with all that space. Then he comes to Chelsea, ball-dominant team. All of a sudden, all that space for you to run into isn't there because teams are playing a low block against you. Burnley and Everton aren't going to be wide open like Wolfsburg and fucking Hoffenheim. That's just not. It's just a different league. So I don't know why we're making an exception for Sesko. We're talking about Portugal La Liga tax. We've seen more players come from Bundesliga than we've seen them come from the Portuguese La Liga. So we have a big enough sample size to know that players typically struggle when they come to the Premier League from Germany, strikers. We've seen midfielders do well. We've seen defenders do well. But the strikers, they worry me. The ones that don't worry you are the anomalies, the Erling Haalands of the world. But he banged everywhere, and he is generational. He has proven that over and over. Over and over and over and over and over. Agreed at AJ, but know how incompetent this club operates. Okay, I get you. You agree that we can get both. You just know that the way the club operates, it's a long shot. It's a complete long shot. Isco almost scored a banger from outside the box. Could have won it for Spain. Yeah, he does that. But the way he walked up to that penalty, I was like, I don't know, man. Man don't look confident. Man looked like a shadow of himself from the Conference League final when he was cooking in the first half, and then just got bodied by Chelsea for the remaining 45 minutes of the game. It's criminal. Yeah, we definitely do. Endo, says AJ. Now that Kepa is done, that Arteta 9th, Chelsea, Man City rejects. That's Arteta's 9th, Chelsea/Manchester rejects out of his 33 signings. That percentage, that's 20%. Wake up, people. Whoa. AJ come with the receipts, AJ come with the receipts. So that's 9. All right, so okay, let's work it up real quick, right? So it's Jesus, Zinchenko, you count Sterling twice because he's a Manchester City and the Chelsea reject, throwaway. David Luiz, Jorginho, Havertz. Damn. I was trying to reel them off my head there, AJ, but yeah, I think I'm stuck. I'm missing a couple of. Help me out in the chat if you can. But yeah, that's a lot. That's giving me Ten Hag vibes. Hey, let me go to Ajax and get players that I know I'm comfortable with. And should we get Leroy Sané that we're linked with? That would be 10. Criminal. If we were a smart club, we buy both Victor Gyökeres and Jonathan David for less than Sesko. Smart. That's definitely smart. That's economically smart. Yeah, the bagsman and the service of a backup. But he won't do that. We'll never do that. He won't. Because then he'll have to get rid of Havertz. He would have to get rid of his boyfriend, his stepchild. Or play him in the midfield would compromise our team. And I would see him do that. I actually believe a scenario exists where if Berta overrules him and say, you're not getting your striker. You're not getting Sesko. You're getting a proven striker because that's what we need. We need a bagsman. And gives him Gyökeres. We will sabotage him. We would absolutely sabotage him. One bad game and he's hooked. And you don't see him for 3 months. Meanwhile, Havertz, Odegaard can have stinkers after stinkers after stinkers. And Ethan can't see the pitch. Crazy. Sesko is doing far worse at RB Leipzig than Timo. We all know how that went for Chelsea and Spurs. Timo would have been a better example than the Nkunku one. Thank you, AJ. Nkunku just popped in my head because I know he, another German flop. That's a perfect example. A perfect example. How? We're going to do it again. Arsenal, we're like that person that will be drinking and driving, know there's a DUI trap, and still go down that road. That you see everyone else make that mistake and you still go do it because you think you can be the guy, right? Arsenal is that guy who go marry the neighborhood hoe and think he can turn her into a housewife. No one else could. But he thinks he can turn Sesko from 13 goals in the Bundesliga to bang in 20 in the Premier League. And I'm not just making him 20 as an arbitrary number. I'm saying 20, 18 to 20, because that's what we need. That's what we need to turn those 14 draws into wins. Indo says, sadly, but Smart and Arsenal do not go hand in hand. A smart Arsenal is the biggest oxymoron in sport. Yeah. Arsenal, good business? What? No, we don't do that. We do not do that. Rafael looked dangerous last night. He'd be useful at Arsenal, but under a new manager. He cooks, you know. He cooks. Rafael Leao cooks. So sometimes he just comes off as a selfish player. Sometimes I see him do like all the hard work. And as a winger, you know, when you were growing up as a footballer, you know, the winger's job was to create chances for your striker. You know, beat your man. Because before the inverted stuff, you were a left-footed winger, you were on the left side. You beat your man, you cross the ball, you square it for your striker. I've seen Leao do all the hard work, and the striker be there. The late run from the number 8, fresh in the box will be there, and he goes for the glory, and you know, and fluffs it. But he is dangerous. If he gets his decision making right, and he comes to Arsenal, lo and behold, Bukayo Saka will have a field day on the right side. Field day on the right side. Because he knows when the ball goes on the other side, it's not a turnover. He knows Leao won't dribble the ball off his knee out of bounds like Martinelli does. Man, head is going to be up. You will see more goals from our striker. You will see more late back post runs, tap-ins for Saka, vice versa. You know, because Leao wants to score. How many times have you seen Bukayo Saka beat his man, lay the ball off, it runs across the face of goal? One, because Moreno is so slow, he's back on the center circle. And two, Havertz not there. You know, he's looking for the ball in the air. You know, he's a 6'9" German giraffe. But yeah, I completely agree. BBK chat, listen to this. I had an Arteta in tell me I have no right to judge him because I also support Arsenal ladies. Because support the Arsenal ladies just shows what we're up against. They just making up shit now. It's like they're making up excuse for the next failure. I mean, does the club need to burn down before these people realize that we're in trouble? Like, seriously. Do they need to? Like, don't you see what's going on? Like, the kitchen is engulfed, is on fire. And we went into the whole house is engulfed before we called the fire department or pulled the fire extinguisher. Like, how much trouble do we need to get into? Do we need to fall completely out of Champions League football before they realize? Because then another excuse will run is, oh, well, we don't have Champions League to offer these players. Nah, that's bullshit. Champions League football only matters to players who've already played in it. You have good players who've never played Champions League football. Because if you're a Brian Mbeumo, you've never played Champions League football. You can't use Champions League to select, and that's how you end up at Man United. Because they don't have any Champions League football to offer you. You know what I'm saying? Champions League football, some players value it more than others. But $200,000 a week, you'll suck it up for a year. That is crazy. We got a hell of a fight, bro. Hell of a fight. Adiri says, hi, BBK Sports. How are you? Newcastle should really spend big money this summer on Anthony Elanga, João Pedro. 120 million pounds for both Anthony Elanga and João Pedro should. I mean, I hear that. Mbeumo is gone now. I thought Mbeumo would have been your marquee signing. But Newcastle has been right there or thereabouts waiting to splash big money. And I think 120 million for João Pedro, Elanga, and I like João Pedro. I don't know if Elanga is. He plays in a Forest team that plays counter-attacking football. I mean, I don't think counter-attacking football is Eddie Howe type of. You know, he comes off as more of a wingback to me, Elanga. But that João Pedro, I can hear it. But big up to Deary. And then Gunnar, Honestly, for me, I would rather Rodrigo because for me, the best left winger on the planet. But if not, I would rather Lookman. If I'm honest, Lookman, yeah, Lookman. I'm a little skeptical on the Lookman one because I seen him at Everton, I seen him at Fulham. He didn't really pull up trees in the Prem. I think I think the Italian league suits him. You know that Lukaku vibes. You know, a big Premier League club for Lukaku at United and Chelsea didn't do much, but he is king in Serie A. So it, I don't know about Lookman, AJ. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know. But Rodrigo is a needle mover for me. If we go sign Rodrigo, we're sending a clear message of intent to the rest of the Premier League. The Arsenal front line is coming. Right. A front line of Rodrigo on one side, Saka on the other side. Fullbacks worry about that. And all of a sudden, that gives more space for Donkey Kai and Sesko. And I'm going to say Sesko because I'm more inclined to believe that it's going to be Sesko that we're signing, not Gyökeres or Osimhen or any established striker. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Lookman. I don't know. I think Lookman is an upgrade on Martinelli, but I just know the fact that I've seen him in the Prem for two different clubs and didn't really bang. I don't think he's Arsenal level. Big up to the assembled, treasured member of our community. We are glad and blessed to have you, sir. Big up. Oh yeah, AJ, you gotta big up the assembled, man. Oh, we got man like views in the chat. Big up man like views, people. Make sure you go subscribe to views and check out the intervention. Tomsky popped in the building this morning along with Yasser. Some good content this morning, people. Go check it out. Speaking of AC Milan, the way they need to sell this summer, go and get Theo as the Carrion Tierney. He would only cost £35 million. They're in money problems. How much did they sell that Reinders to Man City for? Because it seems like Man City got him off on a cheap. It seems like Man City got him on a good deal. Because Reinders, it seems like, right? You look at Man City and you look at Arsenal, and you have the way we look at Saka and what he does for us, right? And then you look at Man City and you look at Foden, who has 4 Premier Leagues, the Champions League, PFA Player of the Year. Saka doesn't have any of those things. Foden does. Kevin De Bruyne is retiring. You would think that the mantle, the club, the keys to the club would go to Phil Foden, their prodigal son. They love him. He can do all the things. He's better than Saka. He's better than Palmer. He's better than everyone. But he has one bad season, and the sentiment is gone. Pep is like, no, go get me Reinders, go get me Mamouche in January. There's no sentiment. There's no love attached to the player. It's about the business of winning. I'm not saying we should just go get a Saka replacement. I'm saying if you're a Foden and you have a bad season or an okay season, he had a bad season, a shit season, and you see the way the club is moving, bringing in other players, that's going to put you out of a job. It forces you to raise your level. Who are we bringing in, or whoever we ever brought in to force Saka to raise his level, force Odegaard to raise his level? There is not a week going into this upcoming season that Phil Foden thinks he's a guaranteed starter in that Manchester City side. But I guarantee you, Saka and Odegaard knows they're starting every Saturday, every Sunday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, never will play. You know them ones. So, yep. AJ bigging up views. Some dappings going on. Yep. The assembled Arsenal have sold all their strikers or put them on the wing. Arsenal team is full of defenders, either former defenders or midfielders converted into defenders. Yeah. Hence, 69 goals scored in 38 games. Not good enough. I don't think Wenger scored that few of the goals in his worst season with men like Shamak and Benayoun and shit. Lord Bentner. I don't think Wenger ever did. Ever. So that is a spot on statement from the assembled. More bigging up. Yeah, man, that was a great show this morning. That was an epic show this morning, people. Make sure you go check that out. Make sure you If you're doing yard work today, you're doing your garden, you're cutting your grass, you're washing the car, put your headphones on and check out the intervention from this morning. Top content. Sometimes I can't believe I get such top content for free. You know the one. Mad. Bigging up. Theo and Calafiori are used as our two left backs with a lot MLS to play left eight, which is his actual position. So it just makes sense. That. Well, we won't do it. Makes too much sense. We won't do it. We'll go get another midfielder. Because I actually think now, right? We get Zubimendi. Then we get the Zubimendi deal over the line. We get Partey done. We get Partey on a new deal. Zubimendi, Partey. You just signed Moreno last year, right? And you got Havertz because we're looking for a striker. You already signed Havertz as a midfielder, he said. And then you got Odegaard, Declan. What's our best midfield? Even if you take Havertz out of that, we got Declan, Partey, Mourinho, Zubimendi, Odegaard. What's our best midfield combination? Now we're gonna see him tinker with that. That's a good problem to have, I guess. But track record, I don't trust him to get that right. You desperately need a player to put Saka. I want Michael Elise for that, but he is gone. I want either Mbeumo or Jared Bowen too. So that's Eze. What about Eze? I think Eze would cook in our midfield, you know. Albeit he's not right-footed, he's not left-footed, but I think he can play, he can create. And I think our left eight, just like Kelly, needs to be able to create. Because Kelly can create. I remember the PSG game where he dribbled, rolled about 3 challenges and played Martinelli clean through. He has that in his locker, you know? So, I don't know. I just think we can't have a midfield where it's Declan Rice, another non-creative player, and Odegaard. I think the next addition to our midfield, we just need to be an attacking player. Right? In games, there are games where you would need 2 DMs or a 6 and an 8, where the 8 drops back a little bit. But bro, when we're playing everything in 2 banks of 5, you put 2 8s on the field or you put 2 10s. I don't care. You attack. You play Odegaard and Nwaneri and you let Declan Rice sit. There are times, or in a game when we need a goal, regardless of who it's against. If we're down in the game and we need to go for the win, what do? You attack. And we can't do that with Odegaard as our sole 10. Yes, we get creation from the wings, but when the ball gets out to the wings, teams with great defensive schemes can mitigate that. They double up on your winger and force you to play the ball to your fullback. What the hell do you do then? You know? As far as for Odegaard, get him gone, please. But since that will never happen, bring in Eze to push him all the way. Yeah, well. Yeah. I think 2 things need to happen for Odegaard to get back to his 2022, 2023 levels. He needs to have the captain armband taken off him, so he just plays football. Bro, you're just gonna play football. That's all you're gonna do. And another attacking player in the middle with him. Take the pressure off of you, bro. I can't go into a season when you're scoring 3 goals and 8 assists as the number 10 for Arsenal. You know, 3 assists, bro. That's Ozil. Ozil used to do those numbers in his sleep. In his absolute sleep. AJ said, when Partey goes to Barcelona and Zubimendi goes to Real Madrid, then what do? We are fucked. Oh yeah, we are in deep shit. We'll have to play Sambi Lokonga. That's the answer. Play Sambi. That's what we're gonna have to do. I think I read that one already. I did read that. Yeah, I don't know. I think Adiri is watching like 4 or 5 streams and he just copies and pastes and just change the name of the channel that he's watching. But I don't know still. Here, a problem that no one is talking about. Riot is on 90K a week. We are giving Kepa 100K a week, so there's a chance Kepa might actually start over Riot. Then we are really going backwards. So AJ, I heard this morning. I heard the 100K yesterday, but then this morning I heard it was 75. So I have to go do some more research there, yeah, and find out which is the actual truth. However, if you remember in the 2023/2024 season, we went into that season with Ramsdale as our starting goalkeeper. No one going into that season said we lost the league because of Ramsdale. Our goalkeeper was not our biggest hole in the team to fill. No one was saying we need a new goalkeeper because Ramsdale was, he got an England call up out of that 2022/2023 season, for fuck's sake. Our first title charge. So we went into the following season with him as our starter. 3 games in, shocker. Lineup is announced. Fully fit Ramsdale on the bench. Raya starts. Remember that. 3 games in. It was 3 games in the 2023/2024 season. He gets benched for Raya. Arteta comes out, was like, yeah, I need to have 2 goalkeepers. I'm going to rotate goalkeepers, blah, blah. He created a controversy that didn't need to even happen. But it worked out in the end because Raya won the Golden Glove and we came within 2 points of the title, blah, 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 right? And Raya became the starting man. If that's what he is doing, where we're going into a season thinking Raya is the starting goalkeeper, then Kepa comes in and takes his job, then he's going to end up creating a whole nother controversy. Because this will be his what, 6th or 7th goalkeeper? Meanwhile, he inherited Emi Martinez and Bernd Leno at the club. Both those guys are currently starting for 2 other Premier League clubs. First names on the team sheet, doing very well at their respective clubs. So he got rid of 2 Premier League proven goalkeepers. You keep signing goalkeepers and goalkeepers and goalkeepers. It's a mad one. But I think in isolation, paying $5 million for Kepa to be a backup is cool, right? Because he did do well last year at Bournemouth, especially in the game against us. And the thing is, Chelsea, at one point, he was the most expensive goalkeeper in the world, yeah? Kepa was. I think it was 70-something million that Chelsea paid for Bilbao. And we're getting him for 5, but the 100K can be problematic. So I'm gonna go check that out before, I see what it is. And part of me actually believes a fully confident Kepa in a penalty shootout might be a better bet in the cups than Raya. Because we've seen how early Raya dives when it's penalty shootout. You can find streams of me actually saying I'm not sold on Raya. So I'm not here to defend Raya either way. If Kepa comes in and he proves to be the better goalkeeper going into the season, so be it. I'm not emotionally attached to Raya either because he has done some bonehead shit over the past 2 years. Tedesco, 30 goals is just another shit Mourinho or Havertz. We get the same or better, just a bit better number. No, yeah, it's spot on, bro. He is like the I think someone called him this morning the Slovenian Andy Carroll. I'm not sold on Sesto. With 13 goals in that Bundesliga. 13. I think Nkunku's numbers was better than that in Germany. Brenda's numbers was better than, like AJ said. AJ says 12 likes. Big up, people. Appreciate every single one of them. Take none of them for granted. Big up AFC always as every time. AFC big enough. AJ, after Kepa £5 million he spent £134 million on goalkeeper. Wow. Should have just kept Emi and Leno. Yeah. And yes, that's money on the attack over the past 5 years and a half, 7.5. Stinky. That's stinky. But yeah, he inherited 2 very, very good goalkeepers. A goalkeeper that won him the FA Cup. I don't know. Why was he in such a rush to get rid of Emi Martinez? That was one of his first sales. We need to raise funds or something. Memory kind of fuzzy around that situation. But if you wanted to get rid of Emi Martinez, surely you keep Leno. He sold Leno too. Bringing Ramsdale, he was relegated. 3 games in the previous season after a title charge, you replaced Ramsdale, who you paid $35 million for Raya. Just a mad one. Just an absolute mad one. Sesko would have been a good signing if we bought him in the summer. He actually bought Kai, but now we need better than that. Gyökeres and Jonathan. Yeah, I take Jonathan. I take Gyökeres, man. The numbers, 39 goals in the Portuguese La Liga bodes better for me and is a lower risk than 13 in that shit Bundesliga where they play on the halfway line. Now, the Bundesliga defending is literally like Tottenham and Brighton. They're on the halfway line. It's suicide football. Because you remember, you watched that Leverkusen Invincible season, bro. There were so many games that were down 2-1, 2-0 late in the game, and teams were still on the halfway line and they equalized. Mad one. Nuno Mendes had Yamal locked. I heard that Nuno Mendes has earned himself placed at the best left back in the world table, homeboy is cooking. Man is cooking, man. I want to say he locked. Well, yeah. They knocked out every single English club out of the Champions League, They knocked out Liverpool, Villa, Arsenal, and they beat City. They beat every single English club in the Champions League last year. PSG have arrived. This is the PSG that they thought they were going to get when they spent big money on all those stars. But now they have on those superstars. Now they have a couple of stars and a couple of workhorses in that midfield. Yeah. So they find themselves where they could make arguments for we have the best left back, we have the best right back in the league. They're doing bits. They're absolutely doing bits. Oh, people said I would do 45 minutes. I'm already over 45 minutes. That is just legendary. I had a guy tell me Victor Gyökeres 51 goals in 22 goals in England. If we had them in an extra 22 goals 2 seasons before that, we win the Premier League titles, in my opinion. Absolutely. That's Premier League tax. Okay. Add Premier League tax to 51 goals. You see that 22? That 22 is what Aubameyang used to win the Golden Boot when he was tied with Salah and Sadio Mane. That's 22 goals. 22 goals wins us the league, bro. 22 goals turns those 14 draws that we had into wins. 22 goals, we beat Everton. We don't draw both games with Everton. 22 goals, we're up 2-0 against Villa. We don't tie the game 2-2. 22 goals, we don't lose at home 1-0 to West Ham. Brighton at home, Brighton away. We don't draw both those games with those 22 goals. And the thing is, if you go back to our last trophy, and I'll end with this before I have to run. If you go back to our last two trophies, right? Our last trophy in 2022. In 2020. Jesus. Which 2022? Our last trophy in 2020. Well, we beat City in the semifinal and we beat Chelsea in the final. That Arsenal team was not better than that City team. Let's have it right. We weren't better than them. We were not. The Arsenal team that beat Chelsea in the final, that Chelsea team won the league that year. That's 2017. That Chelsea team, they were better than us. They didn't win the league that year. That was Liverpool. But that Chelsea team were better than us. The difference is we had a gunman. The difference is we had someone who scored goals, Aubameyang. And he hit 22 goals the last time he was at the club and won a Golden Boot. And then we sold him. That's the difference between us winning trophies and not. So give me 22 goals all day long because Kai Havertz will never hit that. Kai Havertz will never hit 22 goals. I'll go out on a limb. Jesus will never hit that. Havertz will never hit that. Maybe Sesko in a couple of years. But we aren't blessed with time. We don't have a couple of years is my point. That's my worry. We are in win now mode. Big up to Rashid, people. Big up to Rashid. Make sure you go check out Arsenal Revolution TV. I was on there yesterday. Great show. He was bigging up AFC and bigging up Rashid. Honestly, I'd rather let Zubimendi right and go get Timber. The Timber twin that plays in the field. Because from what I've seen, both Quentin Timber is built for the Premier. Yeah, I mean, his brother did that transition seamlessly. He's a good player. He's a pretty good player, A lot of Arsenal fans were hoping that we got Feyenoord in the Champions League so we could have the Timber Tips derby. But the football gods At other plans. Other plans. Big up to everyone in the chat. People, people. Let me make sure I didn't miss any comments. Make sure I didn't miss any. I didn't miss any. And he was getting bigged up by Rashid. People, the wife is waiting on me. The wife is waiting on me. We got to hit the streets and get our day started. But big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everyone. Big up to Rashid. Big up to AFC always. Big up to AJ. Big up Views. Big up Bluebird. Big up to everyone who was in the chat, people. I will be back tomorrow with some more content. I will say, take care of yourselves and each other, people. Until next time, we are gone.